Ken Russell's The Devils is one of the most magnificent, monumental, inspired, and vainglorious film productions of all time, an artistic successor to Griffith's Intolerance, or the Babylon portion. To realise it properly, one must sufficiently recreate it. The Devils is a film wherein everything which arrests us is a direct impression of the production itself, as much as what the film is enacting. Watching footage shot during the making of The Devils would be to experience a reminiscent affect to what The Devils itself enforces on the senses. We attempted the mass exorcism wherein Father Pierre Barre attempts to purge all of the mad raving nuns and King Louis rocks up with the supposed blood of Jesus Christ. This scene is impressive and affecting simply because the filmmakers are performing that which is being depicted. How best to replicate the events recounted in Aldous Huxley's The Devils of Loudun? To actually do them. Since unsimulated sex, as far as we know, the mad church psychotic orgy exorcism scene, which leads into the extremely notorious Rape of Christ moment, bowls us all over because it is really happening. An artistic recreation becomes rather or as much an artistic successor. We witness in front of our eyes as a hedonistic explosion ignites. We note a small cocker spaniel dog being squeezed, the burning of Bibles, sheep being led through the circus, and then King Louis comes in with perfumes, grapes, and a carried golden couch. I think the Rape of Christ most symbolized the contradiction between Catholicism's prudish Puritanism, but also its fetishization of mortal flesh and fallible human will. In an R.D. Laing-style contradictory knot, subjects are told that the body must be covered up, that human desire is wicked and serpentine, that all will ought to be dedicated to the Lord our Father, and that one must feel guilt and shame for their sins, potential for sin, and learn to accept, even enjoy, the prospect of suffering for the sacrifice of Christ himself. But that one must also submit and love pain. This is when the human being, told not to summon sexual impulse, has to then hear about it all of the time, to emphasize these thoughts having the powers of a semi-divine Satan, have the exposing of inner flesh at the centerpiece of every hallowed church, and generally indulging in what the Protestants would later condemn as idolatry. The inherent eroticism of that repression is the main factor in the intellectual communication which lies in Russell's The Devils. Even the legendary Thomas More is written to have practiced extensive self-flagellation. Russell claims to have had a political message in mind with The Devils about the power of an overriding state upon an individual's liberty, although I strongly suspect that this was a self-defense mechanism against accusations of indulgence and excess, of creating a film about urge versus order, and how even the church can fail to, or fan the flames of, the inescapable control of human lust. I have actually not read Aldous Huxley's text, The Devils of Loudun, in full of yet. I wouldn't be surprised if it is more pronounced in his text. It would not be surprising at all for Huxley to have done so, and I believe Ken Russell projected this element onto his own picture. There is an element of that, although I'm unsure how well this is tied together, but more importantly, I really don't mind this at all. The Devils is a film wherein Father Grandier utilizes a petrified crocodile corpse as a shield against an assaulting blade. Horrifying, sadistical, sadomasochistic faces hog our glimpse through the lens. The absolute, I am the king, I can do absolutely whatever I want, anything, indulgence of medieval to pre-revolution France, manifested in my most favourite scene of the film, and sometimes in any film. Bye bye, Blackbird. I have to know where Russell got the inspiration for this scene. Is it in Huxley's text? Is it an account shared in a history? This scene to me encapsulates a contemporary obsession with the mad playful indulgence of older European kings. Dress them up as birds, laugh at them, psychotically jab it with blades and rifles as they run in a petrified panic, and then before they know it, boom, the king fires his pistol and they all laugh, jolly good fun, let's do it again. This is like something out of Lewis Carroll, and yet could we put it past the absolute extravagance of the old world nobility at one time? If there is one segment in the film I'm most envious of, especially including the build-up, as we witness King Louis shooting at something and handing his gun away to be reloaded, but we don't see what his target is until a few shots are fired. we cut to a person in a makeshift crow costume in a cage. A horrifying, unnatural, non-diegetic screeching over the soundtrack really assists the terror of this moment, as it does in several segments of this feature. And the way the camera follows, how the reel is edited, and how the event contrasts yet fits in with and exemplifies the extravagant pomp of the pristine, pampered garden party around it. Man, this moment, I'm jealous of it. The only thing missing in this film's overwhelmingly indulgent affect on a viewer's sensory input would be if someone was letting loose a hippopotamus during the mass exorcism scene at the church. The direction of Ken Russell, the cinematography of David Watkin, the music of Peter Maxwell Davies, and the production design of Derek Jarman, as cast members like Oliver Reed, Vanessa Redgrave, Michael Gothard, Graham Armitage, Dudley Sutton, Gemma Jones, and Murray Melvin stomp about an otherworldly time machine set, transforming the viewer into a medieval, fearfully Catholic psychonaut. Now, as we all know, The Devils does not have an official release in its uncut glory, though one can view a fan cut streaming online, supposedly. The version of the film distributed officially excludes the Rape of Christ section, wherein at the climax of the mass exorcism attempt, several frenzied nuns tear the statue of Christ on the cross down from its hallowed vantage and sexually defile it, and using it to stimulate themselves. And then another scene toward the very end of the film, wherein Vanessa Redgrave's character masturbates for burnt human femur bone. I shall discuss the legacy, the kind of censored history, the history of this film's censorship, more so in a subsequent video, actually. Consider it something of a part 2, discussing a companion documentary to Russell's mighty work. Ken Russell's The Devils is one of the most immediate and engrossing, unavoidably memorable, and inevitably impressing or ruthlessly mortifying of cinematic expressions, and I cherish its existence. I would again insist on comparing Russell's The Devils with the Babylon component of Griffith's Intolerance. Is it enough to create the illusion of that spectacle within a film production? One has to outright recreate it for the film production. But then to demonstrate them so aptly in the filmic form, to employ a fluid and appropriate cinematographic philosophy throughout the telling of the narrative, this feat is staggering. If I have not done this film justice, do let me know. Otherwise, have a beautiful day, night, wherever you are.